for the Pacers. No idea how they're really going to build a LeBron game plan. That's going to be a huge problem for them. On the flip side, I think the Lakers are going to have some real trouble finding a consistent path to defend Haliburton and play at the pace. And I think this game's going to come down to those two individual defensive battles, and then who wins the pace battle. The Pacers are going to want to be out in transition and get this going and wear the Lakers out and give them problems when the Lakers want to play a little bit bigger. For the Lakers, best thing you can do is grind this game out a little bit. LeBron just eats up the Pacers, and we see where that goes. I will say one small thing about this that I do like is that LeBron has a long history with the Pacers, like as a team he's played against, and obviously the Miami run. But one of his most tense playoff series was 2018 first round against Indiana. Like this is LeBron. LeBron has had now like multiple iterations against very different kinds of Pacers teams over very different stops of his career. So that's just also kind of a cool little historical footnote.
And the Carlisle history.
And the Carlisle history, right? It's a great shot in your part. So the fact that this is just layering in more LeBron lore is great for me. Betting odds: Lakers minus 3.5, and the spread over under is set at 240.5. Money line: Pacers plus 150. The Lakers minus 185. The Lakers are favorites. I suspect this will feel like a Lakers home game to some degree, being in Las Vegas. Where does your brain go with this? What is it? The Pacers defending LeBron? Is it how the Lakers defend Haliburton? Is it the pace? Or is it something else? What is popping to you as you think about this game?
The Lakers are middle of the pack in transition defense. I think LeBron has exerted a little bit more defensive effort. That's been part of the other thing he's done to try to win these games. There was that cool clip that went viral of him and AD talking about their defensive strategy the other night, which was fun to watch. So I do believe the Lakers can throw enough different types of bodies at Haliburton. I think Reddish will start the game that way. I kind of doubt we see a lot of D'Angelo Russell in this game, or at least as far as impact goes, because what does he do defensively? You know, the Pacers are going to put him in hell. So you're going to see the big, long lineups for the Lakers where they try to force mistakes, slow possessions down, switch, do what they need to do. I believe that they can have the best game defending the Pacers that we've seen in this NBA Cup, and probably one of the better ones all season. You know, the Jackson Frank over at Basketball Insiders, I think is where he's writing now, wrote about how the Magic defended the Pacers, and a lot of it was fighting through screens with big guard defenders, clogging the paint, you know, whatever. I think the Lakers can kind of match that formula. The thing that I think might also kind of help determine this one, though, Chris, is offensive rebounding, because it's something that the Lakers have done in both of these NBA Cup games that they just didn't do and that they haven't done in the regular season much. And the Pacers are fine in terms of defensive rebounding, but no, they're actually bottom 4. I had that wrong. They're bottom 4 in terms of defensive rebounding. So if AD can make an impact there, I think that'll be huge. And in terms of guarding LeBron, in terms of keeping them off the offensive glass and keeping AD out from the paint, they have to stop giving up the switches to allow Miles Turner to be out on an island. Like, that is the number one thing watching the Pacers that drives me absolutely crazy, is how easily in transition on cross matches and in pick and roll situations on switches that they just let Miles Turner end up defending a floor spacer a mile away from anything going on. And so I think that they need to keep that from happening in order to defend LeBron drives, keep AD off the glass, and all the rest. If they can do that, I feel a little better. I think Nesmith will have a big role to play against LeBron. But on both ends, that's kind of the things that I see impacting this one. Who do you think steps up of those role players that we've listed off the names of so far, but which one of them do you think is going to matter the most on Saturday night on either end?
I think for Indiana, it has to be Nesmith again. I mean, I think he's going to get the LeBron assignment, right? Like, he's going to be asked to be the guy that defends LeBron and has to be physical and do his damnedest to slow him down. And I don't like his odds,
Would you start Neesmith? Would you just say this is a playoff game, let's do it, or does Bruce Brown get the shot at the beginning and then they go to Neesmith after that?
Yeah, it's probably that, but Neesmith has been more effective in that role. So his impact you felt much more than Bruce Brown. So I kind of just want to see more of him. I think he's kind of earned the spot. I think you kind of ride a guy in that situation. So I think it's him.
How quickly does Obi Toppin get his second foul if he guards LeBron? Because I think Bruce Brown's a better guard defender. So it might actually be Toppin. Yeah, I think he's gonna foul LeBron twice in the first 2 possessions.
Can I tell you what LeBron is doing if Obi Toppin's fucking defending him? He's cooking. He is. Yeah. He's getting an ISO, and he's driving in, and he's doing the little shoulder LeBron chug. He's flexing, and he's getting 2-and-1s, and Obi Toppin's sitting his ass down on the bench. That's what's happening.
If he did it to Herb Jones, I'm sorry, Obi. It's not
cooked.
Your night.
You're cooked. He did it to Herb. He's doing it to he's going to do it to Neesmith too. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what I keep thinking about. Yeah. Like LeBron, there is not a single soul on this Pacers team that has a shot of defending LeBron if he plays like he did the other night.
No, you're at the point with Indiana where, and this means that the Lakers have already won. I mean, not literally the game, but they've won metaphorically. When you're like, the best LeBron defender might just be the center. Put Miles on him. Like, that's where some teams end up getting, and it's similar with Giannis. And if that's the case, then you're already screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed if that's the case. Your whole defensive structure is compromised if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like that, then you're allowing like AD to maybe get an offensive rebounding rhythm, for their shooters to be in good spots. Like you're kind of screwed.
One thing I will say though about the Lakers offensively, because it seems like we're both kind of leaning that they might win this thing. They did get enormously lucky on threes in the Pelicans game. Not just LeBron, but Taurean Prince was 5 of 8, and Reeves will make his, Russell will make his, but I think the Prince thing especially was an outlier, and I almost like it's hard to call that luck when it's LeBron, because it's LeBron and he creates amazing shots for teammates. He's been doing it for 2 decades. But if that dissipates a little bit, I do think Indiana's shooting talent is better. So you could see a game where the Pacers make 15 threes and the Lakers make 7, and then that's a pretty difficult deficit to overcome, even if they do get some offensive rebounds and force Indiana into a little bit more turnovers. But it feels like a game where like 55 times out of 100, the Lakers probably win it. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is there for them. As good Indiana is, and I think there's clear ways Indiana could win it, and it would be a really cool story if they do. I think there's more paths for the Lakers, and it's because of LeBron. It just is.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Lakers role guy, though, that I think is my big X factor is Reeves. Because I think he's going to need to defend Haliburton at times, and I think his shot making is going to it's obviously one of the big swings of this Lakers season, but like he's kind of like, if you're going to limit D'Lo, and you should, even though he's had some moments where he makes good shots and is making smart passes, you're asking to give Haliburton a lot of rhythm. I think their best option to figure out the Haliburton thing is to probably just have Reeves defend him at times, or maybe it's Taurean Prince at times. Like I think you're going to have to
Reddish. That's what my X factor would be on the Lakers side, because if we saw anything from, well, first of all, he's starting, so I mean,
he's been
Reeves
better
isn't.
He's been better than I thought too, if I'm being honest. Like I think he's been like a little more like useful than I would have expected. I don't know if I want to call him good, but I think Reddish has been less of like a flop than I would have thought, because I just didn't think he was very good before this.
He's getting out of his own way, right? Like
he's in the prestige zone. Sure, yeah.
He's playing role player basketball for the first time in his career, which I think is probably his destiny, and it maybe always was. I mean, this is a guy where it's like since basically high school was the last time that it felt like he could be a star. And I'm not saying that with any sort of disrespect. Dude's going to make a lot of money in the NBA. He can be in the league for a long time, but this is what he should be playing like as a 3-and-D player. But the reason that I say him is, one, he'll probably start the game defending Haliburton, so setting that tempo early and throughout the game will be important. But if it's anything like how they approached Booker, Reddish is going to be, to throw back to another LeBron-era Pacers duel with Miami, Reddish is the guard Joel Anthony in this game. And by that I mean the dude is a walking 6 fouls. He is an opportunity to hammer the absolute shit out of Tyrese Haliburton and piss Tyrese Haliburton off, which is also something we have not seen anybody really do. But I bet you, with Darvin Ham as a head coach and LeBron wanting this so badly and the Lakers playing desperate, I don't think he's going to do anything dirty, although Suns fans might tell you he did a little bit on that in that Tuesday night game. He's going to be physical as hell with Tyrese Haliburton. And so for that, if he can make a few threes on top of it, I think Reddish will be pretty important here.
100%. So let's make some picks, Brendon. I think it's time for picks. I am going to pick the Lakers. I would have, if we had finished, I tried to do this the other day, and you rightly said, don't fill out the whole bracket, tease. I was going to pick the Lakers to win the whole thing then. I think this is...
Would you have picked the Lakers if it was the Bucks too? Would it have mattered?
No, I was picking the Lakers regardless. I'm just Dylan, our producer for YouTube. This is for you, my bud. This is LeBron. I mean, I'm just not picking against LeBron, as simple as that is, and kind of against how I usually like to analyze things. I'm usually a little less like, well, the best guy, and I think the best player ever is on one team. I'm going to pick that one. I'm doing that here because the Pacers just don't have the ability to defend him and stay in front of him, or if they put Miles Turner on him, they're changing their defensive structure, and when that happens. Like, even if you throw 2-3 bodies on him in the paint and say, pass, they have enough shooting, I think, particularly how Taurean Prince is playing of late. And if you just give guys open shots, they're probably going to stick some of them. Like, it wouldn't shock me even if D'Lo struggles defensively, but LeBron gives him, like, 3, 4, 5 open threes, and he hits 3 of them, and it's like, oh, that swung the game to some degree at key spots. Like, that is what the power of LeBron is that he can be so good and so overwhelming that it helps mask other issues you might have. That is part of the genius of what LeBron is. And I just don't think Indiana has any shot of slowing him down. I think Haliburton's also probably going to go off and play great. I just think he's playing at that level right now. But the way LeBron's playing right now, I think he's just going to dominate this game. I think that's going to set everything else up for them. And I like the Lakers, and I probably like them at more than 3.5. I like them to cover that money line.
Okay, so... one last note on the Pacers, to your point about defending LeBron that I didn't include. They foul more than anybody in the league by a mile. The only teams in the vicinity of them in terms of fouling as a defense are Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio. 2 of those teams are awful. One of them is also very young. So the Pacers are going to get into foul trouble. They are not going to be disciplined enough to contest. They also aren't going to get calls. Like, you telling me Aaron Nesmith's going to get calls against LeBron James? Absolutely not. So
he wasn't getting calls against the Bucks.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're right. I'll pick the Lakers as well. The last question that I have for you, though, is does it go over or under? You said it was 240?
Yeah, 240.5.
Yeah, what do you think? I think it could go over.
It's tight. I think it's tight. I would lean
That's a
a
good
little
line.
bit under. I would lean. They know what they're doing over there in Las Vegas.
I mean, the Lakers scored 133 against the Pelicans in a game that was over for this whole second half, basically, and they didn't even have really a reason to do anything. They still scored 43 in the third quarter, so they can put up points if they do get hot again and get some offensive rebounds.
Yeah, the offensive rebounding part of this, I think, I can't wait to look at what the numbers are for that. Just like how, like, bonkers they could be in the Lakers' favor. Would it shock you if this is like a sneaky, like, big AD game in some way? If he has like 28 and 15, wouldn't shock me if that happens.
No, I mean the Pacers have no size, so you run an AD pick and roll with LeBron. What happens? They switch it, and then AD's being guarded by Obi Toppin or something. Bruce Brown, TJ McConnell, sure.
TJ McConnell sliding into the dunker spot. TJ McConnell, by the way, showing up, giving them good minutes. It's funny that, like, we 2 months ago, Brendon, could have looked at the Pacers and thought, oh, they're going to trade McConnell and Hield. And, like, I don't know if I want them to trade either of those guys.
They should still trade McConnell because I think they can get something good for it. We had a Zion defense conversation. There's a Buddy Hield defensive conversation for another day. Not quite the same stature as a former number 1 overall pick, but
not at all.
Boy, is it brutal.
Yeah, he might be, if the Lakers are game planning and they're saying, okay, who do we want to force switches with so LeBron can bulldoze them? Buddy Hield's pretty high up on that target list.
He's number 1 and there is no number 2. I think Aaron Nesmith is 6.
Haliburton's going to get put into the blender a little bit, I think, in this game, and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun for him. He's going to get
strength is not what Tyrese Haliburton is necessarily built around as far as his play style. Aaron Nesmith is only listed as 1 inch taller than Buddy Hield, and I swear it's 6 inches. Buddy Hield is the type of player who looks substantially shorter than he is because he is so ground bound at all times. It's brutal, but he's had a fun season. No, they should not trade Buddy, I don't think, but I think they could trade McConnell. Either way, they've both been productive. I think this game can be close, but I probably would agree that the Lakers cover.